In today's installment of There's an App for That Remix, we will explore Book Creator. In the past, you have probably seen or used Book Creator with your students as a tool for them to create their own content. So perhaps you've just finished a science lesson on the life cycle of plants and you ask students to put together a book showing their mastery and understanding of that concept. Or maybe you've been reading a text and you've had students document some vocabulary lessons or vocabulary words into a book in including illustrations and definitions and so on and so forth. But in today's installment of the Remix, we're going to show you how you as a teacher can deliver a book to your students that is somewhat interactive and something that they can add to and then keep in their own content repository for a later date. So say for instance, we are studying the Ojibwe. We're doing a social studies unit, and I have created this book that I will then share with my students. So this is content that I need them to have, but I also want them to add to that content. I don't want it to just be everything that I am telling them or giving them. So you can see that I've added a title, I've added a cover to this book. And if we go on to the second page, which is a little bit of a typo here, but basically the students, when they receive this book, and I can't do this now because I'm editing, but they will be able to click on the word wigwam and oral tradition, and they're actually hyperlinked words that will take them out to a definition. The student's task would then be to add the definition here and draw an illustration. Obviously, they wouldn't write the word because the word is there, but they would write the definition and include some sort of illustration, whether it be something they got off Google or something they drew themselves. So that's one interactive piece to this book. So I've given them some content that I need them to have, but I've also asked them to go out and do something else with the content. On the next page of this book, I have some audio. I'm not going to play it right now because we'll go over what I'm saying. But basically, what the students would do is they would listen to the audio and then answer the questions with a partner. Now, I might actually have them add a page in their book to answer the questions, but the audio asks them two questions from their Northern Lights text, which is presumably a chapter we had just read in their book. So they're going to go ahead and have that interactive component. In this next thing here, both of these images, and I don't have a description here, but both of these images are hyperlinks to videos. And I might ask my students to watch the videos and answer some questions. So if they clicked on this, and again, because I'm in this, because this is my book that I'm editing, I won't be able to go out, but this will jump out to a YouTube video about Ojibwe culture, and this one has to do with Ojibwe tools. So students would be able to interact with the book by going out to a video. In the next thing is, let's say we do some more reading in the text. And here I have some instructions for the students. After reading the chapter in their text, they're going to record audio to answer the questions. So instead of having them type, now I'm going to have some verbal responses. And clearly as a teacher, you could choose either way. Here are their questions. The students would go up to the little plus sign. They would add sound, and they would simply add their own audio of themselves answering these three questions directly from their text. And finally, the last part I have of this book is I would have students, after they've read the text, write down and define 5 new vocabulary words. So I've given them some vocabulary that I know they need to know and have some mastery of, but now I'm asking them to generate their own vocabulary. And in the end, essentially what the student has is they have their own book on the Ojibwe. Clearly you can make this a lot longer, you could do a lot more with it. But the real question is, once I've created this book and added the interactive features, how am I going to give it to students? The easiest and best way to give it to students is through Schoology. So let me just go back to my books, and let's pretend like we're going to create our own interactive book. And I'm just going to put new books so I can show you a few things in case you've forgotten about Book Creator. I'm not going to show you everything, but here I can decide on the shape of my book and so on and so forth. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. When I get to this first page here, I can click on the plus sign to add a photo. So this is where I got that photo of the Ojibwe from Google, and I could go ahead and put that on there. I could have something for my camera, I could draw something, I can add text, and I can add my own audio. And really, adding your own audio is very powerful, especially if you want to give some students some reminders or kind of like information you would deliver to them in a lecture. They can now have that audio right there. And the eye and the inspector tool allows you to change the background. You could have a soundtrack associated with your book, and to do just a couple other features. So let's pretend we have a cover, and let's just go on to the pages itself. Same exact thing with our pages. If we want to add text, so let's say I wanted to say vocabulary. And what I can do then is if I highlight this word, I can say add a link. And what that will allow me to do is I will be able to add a hyperlink. So I'll be able to take the kids out to a different search engine to define that word, or to read more about it, or to watch a video, or I could take them to a page number in my book. Let's say my book got really long and I wanted to have them jump right to the vocabulary section, and it was on page 30. I could put in the page number of my book and it would jump to page 30 of the book if a student clicked on it. You do the same thing, and I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. Actually, we'll say done. If I was going to add a photo, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend I'm adding this same photo of an Ojibwe tool, and I can click on the inspector tool in this case. So I can click on here, and I can add a hyperlink right here to a web page. So this is where I put in the hyperlink to a YouTube video, so I could have my kids pop out to a YouTube video and watch that because it's hyperlinked right to here. So those are just some of the minor things that you can do. Really, the choice is yours, and there's plenty of options for creativity within your book. Let's go back to my books here. I'm going to go back to this Ojibwe book, and let's pretend that I want to then share that book with my students. I want it to be a resource for them. So I'm going to click on, at the bottom here, the upload button, and it's going to ask me what I want to export it as. An EPUB, which is an iBook that a kid can read and they can edit. Or I can export it as a PDF. And a PDF is really if there's no interactivity involved. It's just kind of a static document. And I could export it as a video if I had a soundtrack and I had a bunch of images that I kind of just wanted them to go through. For the intents and purposes of creating an interactive book, I'm going to export it as an EPUB. And it's going to pop up here and it's going to say, where would you like to export it? I'm going to say open in, and I'm going to say open in Schoology. It will then, assuming you're logged into the Schoology app, pop you to the Schoology app where you will have the choice of where you want to put it. You can see I have my EPUB right here. It's going to ask me where I want to submit it, and I actually want to add it to my own personal resources. And the reason you want to do this is because then you can put it into a course or move it where you want to. So for now, I'm just going to click the home folder. I do, as you can see, have some of my own folders I could add this to. If this was part of my English 9 curriculum, I could put it there. I'm just going to add it to my home folder, and I'm just going to click the upload here button. And as you can see, that my file has now been saved. So here I am in my own Schoology on a browser. So remember, I uploaded into an app, but I'm going to go to Schoology as a browser because, as we know as a teacher, that's how we do our creating. I'm going to click on resources, and I'm going to go into my own personal resources. And I will find the same folders that I had before, but if I scroll to the bottom of my uploads, you will see that I have a new EPUB book. Clearly I've done this a couple times, and I can always edit that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this to a course. So if I click on the cog, I can click add to course, and my list of courses that I am the administrator for will pop up. And I'm just going to pick one here. I'm going to pick my English one. It will also ask me if I have organized my course into folders, which hopefully you have, where I want to put that. So I can put it directly into a content folder if I want to. For now, I'm just not going to put it in a folder. And I can go ahead and click add. That's all I need to do to be able to get that book to my students. So now the question is, how does the student get that book? If I'm a student, I go into my Schoology app, and I'm logged on. I'm going to go into my courses, and I'm going to select the class for which the book is entered. And you can see here that here is the EPUB that I have. If I click on it as a student, it's not going to open as anything. It's going to say unable to view file because it's made in Book Creator. So we're just going to click on this little arrow over here. And what that will do is allow us to open it in something else. And we're going to click open in, and we're going to click open in Book Creator. What will now happen is we'll open the Book Creator app, and it will have added the original Ojibwe book into my Book Creator And now as a student, I can go through and I can do the interactive pieces to this book, and I can add this, any information I need to, into my own book. If you feel like creating an interactive book is something that you would like to try, please don't hesitate to contact your iLearn specialists. You can create interactive books for several different types of activities. You could do it, as I mentioned here, to have your students add content into a book. You could certainly do it if you wanted to do maybe some lab safety. If you're doing labs, instead of using a PowerPoint or Google presentation, an ebook is a great way for students to have continual access to the resource. If you want to explain a math concept, try using an interactive book. Or you could compile a bunch of student-created pages into one book. Bottom line here in this, there's an app for that, is instead of the students doing all of the creation, you're giving them some of the content that they need to have, and then they're filling in the blanks. As I said, contact your iLearn specialist if you need any help.